guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about untraditional careers in cozy mysteries because after all, sometimes it can be a little tiring to read another baking cozy mystery or like a crafting cozy mystery. Like they can kind of get a little too similar sometimes. As much as I adore my baking cozy mysteries and will not give them up ever whatsoever, I do enjoy mixing it up, throwing in some more unique careers or hobbies for the cozies. So today's video is all about unique careers or hobbies that are like themed in cozy mysteries. So let's go ahead and hop into our first video. So our first book is by Paige Shelton, and this series, I'm gonna warn you now, it only has 3 books. So I'm gonna warn you now because I'm currently about to start the second book and I'm so sad there's only 3 books. But this is called the Dangerous Type Mystery. So these mysteries are called the Dangerous Type Mysteries because of the shop that it's centered around, which is called The Rescued Word. It was started by Claire, who is the protagonist's grandfather, Chester, and he ended up starting the shop where he repairs old typewriters and restores old books. So I think this is a really fun one. I had never read anything that was specific to like typewriters before, so I actually learned a lot in the first book, which is called To Helvetica and Back. I really enjoyed the first book, To Helvetica and Back, and I'm really excited to read the second book next. I learned a lot about typewriters in the first book. You can really tell that Paige Shelton took her time and did a lot of work on learning all about the different terminology and how typewriters work, how the repairs work, what the process is, and it's done really lovingly. You can tell she probably has an interest in typewriters herself, and it's really interesting. I had such a good time. I feel like I learned a bit about typewriters as well, so I would definitely recommend the series because the first book was excellent. I'm super excited for the second book I'm going to be reading very soon, and yeah, the characters were great in this, and I find the typewriter theme to be very interesting. Let me know if you've seen other typewriter cozies, or if you for the other ones in here, let me know if you've seen a lot of themes like this, or if you can think of any other untraditional like themed cozies. Let me know. I definitely had fun coming up with this list, but this one I have read one from the series before and I really did enjoy it. So this next book is called Poison Pen, a Claudia Rose novel, and it's by Sheila Lowe, and this book really caught my attention because of what the main character Lindsay does as a profession. So this one's a little less cozy than some of the other ones. I don't think it's anything, it's still a cozy mystery. It shouldn't be anything like super graphic, but it has a little less of a cozy feel, which you can gather from even the cover itself. But basically Ivan is some kind of detective and he's Lindsay's partner, and he suspects that the suicide that they came across is not actually suicide. So he wants Lindsay, whose career is a forensic handwriting analyst, which I thought, how interesting. Like, a handwriting analyst in general is very interesting to me. I'm very intrigued by what people can tell about someone just from like their handwriting, especially because I feel like I like to keep a journal and I'll look back at previous entries and my handwriting looks so different, to me at least. So I find that career to be very interesting, people who analyze handwriting, but she is a forensic handwriting analyst, so I found that to be very interesting. The book Poison Pen that I have here on screen is one of the ones in the series, and I thought that was such a cool concept. Like, I don't really know I didn't even know forensic handwriting analysts existed, honestly, so to me this definitely hit the unexpected, untraditional cozy mystery profession. Oh, I'm sorry, I was mistaken. So the handwriting analyst name is Claudia, that's the Claudia Rose, and Lindsay is actually the one who ended up committing suicide, potentially, but her partner Ivan is the one that's disagreeing with this and thinking that it wasn't actually a suicide, like there was some sort of foul play involved. So he's the one who gets Claudia to look at this note that she left. So I'm finding that just to be a very interesting concept. Definitely intrigued. Definitely added that one to my TBR. This next one is one that I'm currently reading. I just got the 3rd book in the mail. I'm really excited to read more, but this is the Pen and Ink mystery novel series by Krista Davis. I've read the first 2 in the series. This is the second one, The Coloring Crook. The first one is called Color Me Murder. It is a coloring book on the front and back of this. You can actually color it if you want to. I'm probably not going to because it's a really beautiful look just as it is, and I feel like I'll ruin it, and I just can't. I can't mark up the cover like that. That just would bother me. But essentially this there are a lot of bookish themed cozy mysteries out there. I feel like that's one of the most common themes, is like librarians, bookshop owners, etc. But in this one, our main character, Florrie Fox, she does work at a bookstore. However, here's the unique part. It also sells a lot of coloring books. The mysteries are usually like centered around coloring books, like this one, A Priceless Coloring Book Led to Murder in this book. And the main character, Florrie, as well, is also an artist and a coloring book artist at that. So throughout the books you get to hear about her designing a coloring book, and she also sketches out her suspects or different people she encounters, like their faces each day, as she kind of goes through her thoughts at the end of the day. It's kind of like, you know, some people journal at the end of the day to kind of brain dump. It sounds like she kind of sketches to brain dump, and so she'll sketch people who she's mentioned or talked to about, like involving the mystery, in her sketchbook, which I think is a really fun play on it, and sometimes the sketches help her out later on. It's a really fun theme to me. So if you are someone who enjoys a bookish themed cozy mystery but you're looking for something slightly different, I think you'd really like this coloring book themed one. I think it's really interesting. I'm learning a lot about coloring books. Like this one was about The Florist, which is apparently the first known coloring book, so it has like a lot of value to it. So I learned quite a bit about coloring books in the process, and you also learn a bit about like old books and about book restoration and stuff as well. So I definitely enjoyed the series. I'm really excited to read book 3 in this, and I hope this is an active ongoing series. There's currently 3 out, a 4th one is coming out this year, so it is an ongoing series, which is nice as well. So this next one is really funny. This is like a humorous cozy mystery. I have not read this book, but it really stood out to me when I was looking around. So, and this one does seem like it has a stronger romantic subplot, so if you are someone who kind of likes the cozy mystery genre mixed with romance, this one might be more up your alley. But this is called High Strung, a humorous cozy mystery. This is part of the Glass Bead mystery series, and it's by Janice Peacock. So our main character's name is Jax, and she is a jewelry enthusiast and artist with glass beads, which I think is pretty unique. I don't personally know a lot about glasswork or glass beads, so I found this to be an interesting take on a like kind of crafty cozy mystery. And essentially she's gearing up for this jewelry exhibition event that she's going to be participating in, and the stranger arrives in town with like a misbehaving dog that's kind of in her face, it sounds like, and her cat goes missing in the process, which, can we stop for a moment and look at how adorable this cat is? I don't have any pets right now. I really want a dog eventually, but if I was to have a cat, it would be a gray cat with like the bright green eyes. I think it's such a beautiful cat. So something like the cat on this cover, it makes me smile every time. I think they're so beautiful. Anyways, back to the summary. So basically, Jax's weekend, it's not going so great between her cat missing, this annoying stranger, and then the worst happens. She finds a dead body behind the bead shop that she was visiting, and one of her friends, Tessa, who is another glass bead jewelry enthusiast, is suspected of the murder. So she is on the case trying to figure out what happened and declare her best friend Tessa's name in the case. So this one just stood out to me. I love the cover. It's supposed to be very lighthearted and humorous, so if that's really up your alley, there's supposed to be a pretty strong romantic subplot as well. So if you like those elements and cats, I think you'll probably enjoy this one. So this next one is a career that is so, again, fascinating to me. It's something I just never really think about, like I've never met someone with this as a career, so it's really fascinating to me. This is part of the Squeaky Clean mystery series, and it's by Christy, Barritt, and essentially the main character runs a forensic cleaning business. So basically she is like the one who cleans up after crime scenes. People have like gone through the crime scene, so after, you know, scientists and people have gathered evidence from the crime scene, she's the one who gets to do the dirty work of cleaning up, which I definitely wouldn't have the stomach for at all. And our main character, Gabby St. Clair, she is just doing her job, and one day she's cleaning up a crime scene as per usual when she discovers a murder weapon that was overlooked by the police. And by discovering this weapon, she realizes that, hey, the wrong person is in jail, which, you know, slight problem there, just a little bit of a problem right there. And so she's on the case trying to figure out what happened. However, someone quickly discovers that she has this murder weapon, and whoever owns the weapon is after her in the process because they don't want this to get out, because, you know, they just got away with murder, literally. And so Gabby is in peril while she's doing this, but I wanted to put this on the list because a forensic cleaning service that just absolutely never heard of a mystery series where the main character had that kind of a profession. I've never even spoke to someone with that kind of a profession, so I think sounds really interesting. This series is absolutely unlike anything I've heard of. It's called the Pot Thief Mystery Series. It's by J. Michael Orenduff, and I have never heard of any kind of career like this. I think it's really interesting. So the main character's name is Hubert, and he is a pot hunter and trader, as in, like, you know, the jars, like, so he's after like ancient museum, like historical, like, pots. And so in the first book, a quick summary of that is that he's offered $25,000 to steal a pot from a museum and recover it for someone. So after he thinks about it and he goes into the museum to kind of assess the situation, so he, you know, he seems like he has a little bit of a shady streak there. He discovers, like, hey, you know what, this is just not going to work. This museum has excellent security. I'm not going to do it. You know, he should be in the clear, right? However, it turns out that he is framed for the theft of this pot. And after Hubert comes back from the museum, he is confronted by an FBI agent accusing him of stealing this pot, which is 1,000 years old. So, you know, it's a very valuable pot, and obviously theft in and of itself, huge crime. However, shortly after, an agent is found dead in a hotel room nearby, so the theft charges are escalating quickly to murder charges. So Hubert has to clear his name, essentially, and it sounds like he unfortunately has pretty weak nerves, like he's not cut out for this, like, high-stress job, but he does have strong deductive skills and reasoning from his typical career of being, you know, someone who trades and, like, hunts down these rare pots. So he's gonna have to use that to clear his name, and it's gonna take everything he's got, basically. But how interesting of a career is that, like, to be someone who's like I mean, not the illegal part. It sounds like, I read some of the summaries for the other books, it sounds like that's kind of a thread in some of these, so he's a little, you know, morally gray, one could say, for sure. But it's definitely an interesting job. Like, someone who has to, like, hunt down things like that, I find that super interesting. So I liked this. There are 9 books out in the series currently, so there's plenty of reading material if you do enjoy the first book. Everything, like, as usual, will be linked down below for you to check out if you're interested in any of the books I'm talking about. Alright, so our next book is actually a historical mystery, cozy mystery. It's called A Lack of Temperance. It's a Hattie Davish mystery series, and it's by Anna Loan-Wisley, and essentially this takes place in 1892 on the eve of the presidential election that year, and our main character, Hattie Davish, is a traveling secretary. So she's traveling to an Ozark town in Arkansas to start work for her new employer. However, when she arrives in the town, she realizes that her employer is missing. However, shortly after this, the town is, like, attacked or kind of, like, rampaged by this huge group of unassuming women, including her employer. However, her employer quickly ends up dead, and so Hattie has to dig into her past and finds that there is a lot of, you know, concerning behavior, perhaps, and different reasons that she should have potentially had, like, different enemies. And I personally thought this sounded like a really interesting one for this list because I like the idea of a traveling secretary. I like that it takes place at a different time, so it's going to be very different than our traditional idea of, like, what a secretary is like today. And then she also has a penchant for botany, so she has this interest and hobby in botany that she's going to probably use in some ways throughout the series, which I thought is another unique hobby for cozy mystery. So that is that one, and now we have one more book. So our next one is the Eve Duncan mystery series by Iris Johansen. The first book in this is called The Face of Deception, and the really interesting career that our main character has, Eve Duncan of course, is that she is a forensic sculptor. So she has a very sad past. Her daughter unfortunately has disappeared and her body has never been found, which kind of led her, it sounds, into this forensic sculpture career. So a forensic sculptor, essentially, she is taking, like, deceased people, like their bodies and skulls, and she's creating a sculpture of what they would have looked like to help them be identified and, like, to find out if, you know, who did it, or just to link and, like, find these Jane Does and John Does, basically. And so one day Eve Duncan is commissioned by a billionaire named John Logan to make a forensic sculpture of this body. I'm not entirely sure, you know, if it's someone related to him or what his connection to it is, but he commissions her to do her forensic sculpture work for it, and she works on it and quickly makes a face out of it. However, it's one that should never have been made, and she is quickly kind of, there's people trying to suppress this forensic sculpture from being made and being made public because someone has secrets, of course, and they're trying to hide it. So this one really intrigued me because a forensic sculpture, I mean, that's really interesting to me. I mean, you have someone who's, I think a sculpture in general is a unique cozy mystery profession to be in, but to have it be a forensic sculpture, super interesting. I personally, I wouldn't even know where to start with that, but I find that to be incredible that someone could take a skull and make like a, you know, a sculpture from it that potentially looked like how that person might have looked like when they were alive, and to kind of help, you know, solve the case in that way. So this one is really interesting. If you are interested in this series, there are 28 books in it, so it's a huge series. You'll have plenty of reading. And yeah, that is our last book for today. I would love it if you would comment down below. Let me know what mystery novels you've read that have unique, interesting professions or like hobbies that are, you know, thematic for the book. I just, you know, sometimes I get in my rut. I love, you know, my baking and my bookish themed cozy mysteries, but it's fun to kind of throw these new ones in and kind of, you know, play around to see different ones or just learn about different jobs in general that I never would have even thought existed. So thank you again for watching. Please leave me a comment about that down below if you know of any interesting ones I should check out or other people should check out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I do upload mystery book content every single week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!